I'm emotionally dependent on you. I'm desperate. I'm emotionally weak. Please save me. This is not attractive. So I wanted to make this video because if you're going through a painful breakup, I don't need to tell you, you're getting overwhelmed right now. So one of the first things to try to take a deep breath and figure out is what is the first step. Now, normally it should actually be considered the second step, because if you're in that situation, you've probably already done the first step, which is to chase, which is to plead, which is to try to convince that person not to walk away. The funny thing is, this can even happen if you knew before the breakup that you were in the power position, that you were the one that if the two of you weren't together anymore, you'd be a little better off. They were a little luckier to be with you than you are to be with them. That happens a lot of times, and then the person breaks up with you, and all of a sudden that's emotionally flipped. A painful breakup can really rattle you on multiple levels. It's not just a heartbreak thing. It's not just the loss of them. It can hit you in so many ways that it really does make you feel like you're in a tailspin. Like it's hard to take a breath and understand reality. It feels like you're walking in the twilight zone now. So one of the first things to do is to take a deep breath. Don't trust that sense of being overwhelmed. It'll feel like it's based on reality. You'll be able to write a book on all the things you screwed up, all the things you got wrong, all the insights that you have, all the ways that you're going to miss this person for the rest of your life. And it's essential. It's the number one goal. Your mission in life now is to win that person back. So you have to trust right now that you're not in your right mind, even though to you, you might feel like, no, I've got a level of clarity. This pain has woken me up. This pain has crystallized and clearly let me see how important that person is to me. I didn't see clearly before, but now I see very clearly. So that instinct, it's a very natural thing, but it's not really trustworthy. And let's say for right now, maybe it's true. Maybe it is. Maybe that person is the love of your life and you're realizing you took them for granted and now you want to win them back. It's still going to work against you if you trust that instinct to motivate your decisions. Your desperation is not attractive. Your certainty that the two of you belong together is not attractive. All the insights, all the revelations, all the new promises, the change that you're going to make to yourself from this point on, none of that is attractive to that person. It's meaningful to you, but your pain is not a motivator for them. If they've broken up with you, they're in a sense of strength. If you've already argued to try to pull them back, they're in a sense of strength. If they found somebody else, all of this magnifies that sense of certainty, that sense of strength, that breaking up with you was the right thing to do. You chasing them is not going to make a dent in how they perceive you and how confident they are in the decision to walk away from you. So take a deep breath. Now, the first thing that you want to do is try to figure out, and this is the first thing I'll do when I'm talking to people. I want to hear the story. I want to hear the details. The reason I say details matter is because within the story, within the unique and the situation of that particular individual and the person that they lost, you're going to find out, is this a toxic situation? Does this involve like what looks and sounds a lot like a narcissist? Something like, is he a psychopath? Is she a sociopath? Is it borderline? Or is it an actual natural breakup? Sometimes two people that belong together can accidentally misread each other, can accidentally wound each other to the point that two people that are a really good fit end up ignoring and not knowing how to address wounds until they just get worse. They get infected to the point that the relationship dies. So there are good people, good matches, accidentally sabotage themselves. We kind of call that a natural breakup. Or is it something that's toxic? Is it abuse? It's another way of saying, did you really lose the love of your life, or did you lose somebody that you're addicted to? If you're trying to figure out if you caused the relationship, maybe you're the abusive one, maybe you're the one that ignored their feelings, you ignored their value, you enjoyed the power position for a long time until you drained them of the attraction to you. You broke them emotionally. You put them in what we call the numb state. The numb state is when somebody really loves or cares about somebody to a really powerful level, but over time, they consistently have it proven to them that the person they love doesn't value them. If somebody consistently makes you feel like your feelings don't matter, to you, it's like you don't matter. If they keep invalidating you, if they keep discarding what you tell them is important to you, if they're never listening to you, never understanding or giving you a sense of being understood or empathized with, then that can actually put somebody into what we call the numb state, where suddenly this person that loved you with all their heart just has no feelings left for you. And when they get into that state, they'll say things like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It's like you're dealing with a different person. You kind of know that you're in the numb state because that person's not angry at you and they're not heartbroken over losing you. They seem actually fine. It's like literally they're numb. They'll say things like, I just don't have anything left. I'm done. I'm broken. We're just not a good fit. This is just not a good match. And when they walk away from you, it's almost like you're dealing with a robot version of the person that had been so in love with you. So that's kind of the numb state. But you can get somebody into that numb state through either toxic behavior or just legitimately feeling misunderstood. Like, I've been working with a couple that I really think a lot of, and they sincerely, deeply care about each other. But when you fall into love, most of the time, you're going to be drawn to somebody that has a match with you in moral code and a match with you in life goals. Those are the two things that you really need to have a long-term, beneficial, thriving relationship. But you're usually drawn to somebody that has characteristics and attributes that you don't. That's what actually sparks admiration. Admiration and attraction are closely tied together. So it's not uncommon for you to fall in love with somebody that other people might describe as your opposite. Opposite is not bad. Opposite actually creates chemistry. It creates a sense of spark. It creates more electricity between two people. The problem is that person that's wired in an opposite way, after you fall out of limerance, the two of you can accidentally wound each other because your natural expectation, your natural style of reaction can differ so much that you accidentally make each other start feeling unimportant or unheard. It can go from admiration for qualities that the other person has that you don't have, to judgment for not reacting the way you believe they should react, from judgment into disrespect. Disrespect is like poison to a relationship. It kind of brings in the four horsemen. It brings in things like contempt. It brings in things like stonewalling. It brings in things like deflecting. So it's like over time, that person's different reaction really kind of creates a sense of resentment and bitterness. So two people that actually really fit together, that are a good team, can really start to misjudge and really infect that wound. They can really infect areas of conflict until it's like an infection that kills a patient. This infection kills the relationship. So take a deep breath. Was your relationship built on toxic behavior, or was it kind of a natural conflict that just kind of got worse and worse over time until it drained the attraction of one or both of you? If it's a toxic relationship, look, everybody's gonna say, and I always get somebody in the comments that says, if somebody leaves you, you should never take them back. Like, I understand the thought process behind that. And I'm all in favor of self-respect and being with somebody that kind of reinforces your sense of self-worth. That's what a relationship is for. But this idea that the person who left you is just a toxic person that you should never take back is ridiculous. There are millions of couples that are very happy right now that broke up in the past. Literally millions of couples. And it's been that way since the beginning of time. So to take a blanket approach and just say, if somebody walked away from you, you should never take them back, you're probably the reason why that person walked away from you. If you have that kind of blanket approach to everything, then that kind of hints that you might be the problem more than you want to admit. And again, I'm all in favor of a sense of self-worth, but just don't take it to a ridiculous level. Sometimes good people and really good couples just run into an area of conflict that they don't know how to resolve. They don't teach relationship and attraction dynamics in school. I think that they should, but they don't. So stop with this blanket approach of, if they walked away from you, walk away, you should never ever take them back. It's really kind of a douchebag response. It's like saying, well, it couldn't have been my fault. If they ever walked away from me, then I don't want to be with somebody dumb enough to walk away from me because I'm awesome. Well, maybe you're the problem. But take a deep breath. If you did cause it, and that's another question I get a lot after the breakup. How do I know if I caused it? If you're sincerely confused about it, and you're not a narcissist or a psychopath or a sociopath, chances are you didn't cause it. What I mean by that is you're probably not the toxic person that caused it. Look, if you have to think about it for very long, then chances are you don't fit into that toxic category. If you look back on the relationship and you can't think of a time where you told the person that you love, that you've been with for more than 6 months, if you can't think of a time when you said, listen, I don't have an excuse for that, I was just wrong. Like, no excuse. I can tell you the circumstances that led to me making that choice, but I can't justify that choice. I can't defend that choice. I was wrong, and I'm so sorry. If you can't think of a time when you said that in a relationship of 6 months or longer, you were probably the cause. Look, a thriving relationship is going to be a challenging relationship. We kind of have a misunderstanding of what a good relationship looks like. You actually want conflict. Look up a couple called the Gottmans, John and Julie Gottman. They talk about this a lot. It's not lack of conflict that proves that you're a good couple. It's actually how you navigate the conflict that shows if you can be a healthy, thriving, productive couple. You actually want a little bit of a challenge. You want a little bit of friction. You want to cut each other a little bit. You don't want to cut each other out of cruelty. You want to cut each other out of intention, but you want to challenge each other. That's part of the excitement. That's part of what builds the two people together and really creates, I hate to use like a buzzword, but almost a synergistic effect in the relationship. So two people are getting stronger. They're learning from each other. And together, if they know how to work together, they become like a team that can overcome almost anything because they trust each other in crisis. So it's not the lack of conflict that proves you're a great couple. A lot of times I'll hear this: I don't understand. We were together for 2 years and we never fought. And then they broke up with me. Well, if you've been together that long and you never fought, one of you is lying. One of you is suppressing how you really feel to try to make sure you get acceptance from the other person. So if you never got in an argument in 6 months, that's probably where you want to start looking. One or both of you didn't feel safe enough to actually tell or express how you felt because you didn't want to risk rejection. That gets exhausting after a while. So take a deep breath. If it was toxic and you really caused it, and you really just need a kind of a personality transplant, you're having a moment of revelation and epiphany that you really know that you caused it, it shouldn't take long to figure out. You should kind of know like that. No, I know I did. I cheated on her 3 or 4 times. I slept with his brother. I emptied the bank account. I used to beat him or her. I'd slap him across the face and then swear them to silence. So look, if you're missing the more obvious signs, then don't torment yourself into thinking, I caused it, I must have caused it. If it's the natural version of draining each other accidentally, that's not the same thing as toxic. So if you were the toxic person, if you acted like a narcissist, if you are a narcissist, if you are a manipulator, and you know that you are, and most narcissists, even if they don't like that title, they know that they know how to manipulate people. They know that they were actually kind of working that other person, getting what they want. They knew how to get what they want from the other person without giving as much as they're getting. If that's you, go get help. Own it. If you sincerely want that person back, now this is going to lose a lot of people immediately. Set up an appointment with a therapist, with a psychiatrist, with a psychologist, and actually start getting help. Most of the time, a narcissist isn't going to get help because there's not a significant area of dysfunction on their life. There are a lot of thriving, successful narcissists out there, a lot of athletes, a lot of politicians, a lot of celebrities. You can go far with the attributes of a narcissist. That's one of the reasons it's kind of hard to diagnose. So look, if you really just want that person back, it might be because you have an impact on a wound on your ego. A narcissist, and this gets in a lot of disagreement, but there's an overinflated sense of self-worth. Now you might say underneath that there's a deep insecurity, but whatever the case, that narcissist has their ego wounded very easily. So if you were the toxic person, one of the things your ex won't be expecting is not only for you to express remorse. I mean, that'll catch them off guard because you haven't taken accountability for anything throughout the relationship. So you just acknowledging that you're sorry, acknowledging that you can see how you hurt them without excuse. Don't even get into the situation and why you did it. Just take ownership for it. Now to you, it'll feel like weakness. It'll feel like vulnerability. But doing that and getting help and acknowledging, using the words like, look, I admit I am a narcissist. That does happen sometimes. I'm getting help for it. Then that's your best shot. Now, chances are, if you truly are a narcissist, long-term change isn't going to be something that you find easy motivation for. But if you want to win that person back, take ownership of it and then buckle up, because your ego is gonna kind of compel you to chase and to beg and to plead. There'll be an inner desperation to get that person back because you're not used to doubting yourself as deeply as you're doubting yourself right now in a painful breakup. It really rocks a narcissist to their core when they feel like they're being rejected by somebody that they shouldn't be rejected by, especially somebody in a high value position. A lot of times I get calls from narcissists saying, look, I'll admit I've been diagnosed, or I'll admit I'm just not diagnosed as a narcissist, but I really need this person back. I'll admit to you, I've been an ass, I've been a douchebag, I've been the manipulator, but I just lost somebody that I never thought I would lose, and I'm in more pain than I understand. Because they get hurt, they get hit in the ego, that sense of worth, that real sense of remorse can actually kick in with a narcissist. Now, in most cases, it's not long term, but just to flip it, if you're watching this video because you're trying to win somebody back that you think is a narcissist, that's how you win somebody back that is. It's a strike to their ego. They don't know how to process being rejected by somebody that they thought would ultimately never leave them. But it's difficult in either case. If you are the narcissist or if you're not, it's a very addictive relationship. It's a confusingly painful relationship. Now, going on to the healthier version of a breakup, let's say neither one of you is a narcissist. And let's say that the person that broke up with you Sometimes when you're with somebody that you truly do love, you can, like I said, exhaust each other over time. That limerence gets drained. And one of the things with our modern life is that we have a lot of options. So some people just get addicted to limerence. So a lot of times when that limerence wears off, all we have to do is jump online. All we have to do is, hell, you can even jump on Facebook and use it as a dating profile, just finding old people, exes that you used to be with years ago. In other words, there's a lot more options than there used to be. We really have an unrealistic version of love. What we promote as love in all media, like even video games, movies, television, books, whatever it is, even in our mind's eye when we kind of imagine happily ever after, what we're really envisioning is limerence. That feeling that you get when you're falling in love, but that's not love. Limerence isn't designed to be there forever. So when limerence fades with one or the other person, all of a sudden we start thinking, well, maybe I'm not supposed to be with them anymore. That doubt creeps in, somebody else steps in, and it ignites that sense of limerence with a new person. One of the triggers of limerence is forbidden. As weird as it sounds, kind of that fallen nature of man. Like, I might not want a chocolate chip cookie, but if my wife brings home a bag of them and puts them on the island in the kitchen and says, you can't have any of these, all of a sudden I want one of those. It's kind of human nature. We're the same way. Limerence falls off, somebody else steps in, that person's off limits. There's a little eye contact, there's a little flirt. Oh no, I feel a little bit of excitement. Oh no, I'm starting to imagine what life with them might be like. Oh no, I wouldn't be having these thoughts, I wouldn't be having these feelings if I was with the person I was quote unquote supposed to be with. If my current boyfriend or girlfriend or husband and wife was the person I was supposed to be with, I wouldn't be finding myself fantasizing about this other person. Yes, you would. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Sometimes you have to take control of your own thoughts and kind of reinforce your sense of reality. That can absolutely happen to even somebody that's happily married. It happens all the time with people. But we have an unrealistic expectation of what true love is supposed to look like. So the person that broke up with you might have run out of limerence, got triggered with somebody else, and jumped ship with you. And if that's the case, it might create a panic in you that makes you want to chase and chase and chase. That's where no contact comes in. Look at no contact as just another way to project the strongest, most confident, most attractive version of you at a time when you feel the most desperate, when you feel the most broken. So no contact gets a bad rap, and it's really got a bad name, so I understand it. But in a lot of ways, you are faking it. And faking something feels inauthentic. Faking it seems wrong. Faking it seems like you're manipulating. And I get that in the comments all the time too. Oh, these no contact videos are all about manipulating your ex to get them to come back. Hey, sometimes people do that. But you can't read the intent, and you can't read the right and wrong of the situation by applying a blanket approach to it. Sometimes in the right cases, when no contact is working the right way, what it's really based in is in the middle of the worst pain of your life, taking a deep breath, remembering your self-worth, reminding yourself that there's more to your life than the opinions and the emotional feelings and affections of that other person. Even if that other person is somebody that you love, you could have gotten to the point that you worship them, that your version of your life without them just seems meaningless. If your life seems meaningless without them, you're not in love with that person. You're in worship with that person. And when you're worshiping somebody else, it's not attractive. So basically, at the heart of no contact, what you're really trying to do is remember your own sense of self-worth, your own sense of value, and projecting that. That's way more attractive. That's the version of you that I would argue is actually the truest. It might feel like it's fake because you don't feel strong, you don't feel confident, you don't feel like you have a lot of self-worth because you just got rejected by the person that you love the most. So you're going to feel like your value is this. But acting as though this is your true value doesn't make it true, doesn't make it authentic. It doesn't mean that this is the truest version of you. So what no contact is even when you feel like this about yourself, you're remembering your value and projecting that out, and you're acting like your value is really what your value is. It reminds the other person of what they're walking away from. Even if they got pulled away by somebody else, give it time. And as they're with that other person, at the time that you're spending in no contact, please don't do no contact by being hyper vigilant on that person. Is it working? Are they thinking about me? How many people have they added to their Instagram? How many people have they added to their Facebook? How many comments? How many likes? If you're hyper vigilant with that other person while you're in no contact, it's not really working. That's not really no contact. Use the time when they're away from you in no contact to focus on yourself, to rebuild that sense of self-worth, to go from seeing your worth as here back to here. This version of you is the truest version of you. This version of you is the most attractive version. And when the limerence wears off with that new person, just like it wore off with you, limerence is not designed to be there forever. So when that unrealistic expectation with your ex wears off in the new relationship, and it will, that same inner voice is going to start talking to them. Well, if they're not the person I'm supposed to be with, maybe the person I left them for is, maybe I made a mistake. And if while they've been involved in that other relationship, you've been taking yourself from this sense of value back up to here, this version of you is most attractive. This version of you was probably the version of you they fell in love with in the first place. And when they come back, hold to that position. Don't go right back into worshiping them. It drains the limerence fast again. That's why we get what we call the whiplash effect or buyer's remorse. So take a deep breath. In really any situation after a breakup, one of the good things about no contact is it's the best thing to do to get over somebody. It's the best thing to do to have the best chance to win them back. And it doesn't matter if they're a narcissist. It doesn't matter if it was a toxic breakup or a sad end to a relationship that shouldn't have ended. In any of those cases, your best chance to win them back is to remind yourself of your worth with or without them. Now, before you do that, before you make the focus of no contact, you actually reminding yourself of your self-worth. Look, if you were that toxic person that caused the breakup, own it. But like I've said in other videos, don't own it to the point that you just drain attraction. Because you can acknowledge a mistake, which shows strength, it shows growth, it shows accountability, and it shows character. That's good. But if you own it and apologize for it, instead of 1 or 2 times, but you apologize for it 137 times, and you won't stop until you get them back, what you're actually proving is that you're not really sorry. You're actually just in panic because your apology wasn't enough to get them back, and getting them back was your true goal. Taking accountability wasn't really your main motivation. Because whether they come back or not, you can take accountability for something. But when you taking accountability isn't enough to get the result that you wanted, so you just keep doing it, you just keep chasing, you just keep apologizing, you just keep reaching out, then you're proving your remorse is not really your chief motivator. Getting your way is actually your chief motivator. And that's not attractive either. So don't keep chasing. Don't keep apologizing. It actually works against you. Even if you sincerely made a mistake, like sometimes good people make bad mistakes. They make bad choices. And if that's you and you're not a narcissist, you're not a psychopath, but you just made a really bad choice, even in that situation, sincerely own it from your heart. Mean it. Let yourself feel the remorse. Let yourself show the repentance for your action. But don't keep chasing, begging, and pleading to the point that you not only show acknowledgement for your mistake, but you actually drain a sense of strength and admiration and even attraction from that other person. Like a lot of times somebody will make a mistake, but then they over apologize to such a degree that they become unattractive. Whether they're accidentally, it goes from, I'm sorry, I hope you can forgive me, I never should have hurt you that way. That's apology 1 and 2. You apologize 137 times, all of a sudden your apology actually sounds like this. I can't live without you. I'm emotionally dependent on you. I'm desperate. I'm emotionally weak. Please save me. This is not attractive. This shows accountability and remorse. And maybe you can start rebuilding. This is just, I just need to walk away. Now the attraction's gone. Now I not only don't trust you, I don't want you. So take a deep breath and understand the real approach to no contact. Like I said, details matter. So if I can help, and that's one of the things a relationship coach can help you do, identify the cause of the breakup. Identify and understand how you got to where you are to start coming up with a real plan and a real understanding of how to get back there, if getting back there is possible. So I hope this video has been of some help. If I can, please let me know at realcoachken.com if you'd like to set up a one-on-one. If it's been any help, please give me a like, a share, subscribe, and I'll be back soon. Thanks.